Welcome everyone to this week trainee and module sessions on motivating and empowering mentees. As mentors, our role goes beyond academic. It's about inspiring and uplifting students. Motivation keeps mentees engaged in learning, while empowerment builds their confidence and independence. Together, these create a thriving environment. I love this quote by Oprah Winfrey. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. That's exactly what we aim to do. Now that we have set the stage, let's move on to our learning objectives. By the end of this session, you will be able to define motivation and empowerment in the context of mentor. In addition, you will recognize the importance of motivation for student success. Next, we will explore how to apply strategies to motivate and empower mentees. And finally, you will learn how to use effective communication to build confidence and autonomy in your mentees. So, before we can motivate others, we first need to understand what motivation really is. In simple terms, motivation is the drive to learn and achieve goals. It can be intrinsic when students learn because they enjoy it or feel personal satisfaction. On the other hand, it can be extrinsic when they are motivated by external rewards such as grades or recognition. As mentors, we want to nurture intrinsic motivation because this is what sustains long-term growth. Now that we understand motivation, let's look at the mentor's role. First, we help mentees set meaningful and realistic goals. Second, we recognize and celebrate small wins because progress deserves recognition. And we also create a safe and encouraging environment where mentees feel comfortable making mistakes. And finally, we inspire them by modeling enthusiasm and dedication ourselves. After all, the energy we bring often sets the tone for our mentees. In addition to motivation, empowerment plays a critical role. Empowerment means helping mentees believe in their own abilities. To do this, we encourage them to take initiative, provide tools and strategies for self-learning, and foster ownership over their academic journey. In other words, instead of doing the work for them, we guide them to become confident and independent learners. So this slide comes to the tips for motivating mentees. First, we can help them set SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Then, we should provide regular and constructive feedback so they always know where they stand. In addition, we celebrate effort, not just outcomes, because persistence also matters. Finally, we use positive growth mindset language. For example, instead of saying you're smart, we might say I can see how hard you work on this. And it shows this small change encourages resilience and continued effort. There are also tips for the empowerment. To start, encourage mentees to share their own ideas and solutions. Next, gradually increase their responsibilities so they can build confidence step by step. Then, ask giving questions instead of giving direct answers. This promotes critical thinking. And finally, promote reflection at the end of each session because reflecting helps mentees see their growth and feel ownership of their learning. So, yes, it's important to know the tips for motivation and empowerment, but mentors must not forget how they should communicate with their mentees. Of course, motivation and empowerment also depend on how we communicate. First, practice active listening because it shows empathy and builds trust. Next, use open-ended questions to encourage deeper thinking. Then, give constructive feedback by balancing strengths with areas for improvement. And finally, avoid comparisons because everybody is on their own journey and comparison can discourage rather than inspire. Even with the best strategies, mentors often face challenges. For example, some mentees may lack self-confidence, others may feel unmotivated or disengaged, and some may become overly dependent on their mentor. In these cases, the mentor's response is the key. We should show patience and encouragement. Reframe setbacks as learning opportunities and guide mentees toward independence instead of stepping in to do the work for them. Let's put one of the challenges I mentioned before into practice. Imagine your mentee fails an English test and says, maybe I'm just not good at this subject. So, how would you motivate them in this situation? What strategies can you use to empower them to take charge of their own learning? For me, I will respond by saying, "Mm, I know this test didn't go as you hoped, but it doesn't mean you're not capable. We can just look at what went wrong together and you can prepare differently for the next time. I know you have walked before and also improved, so I also believe you can do it next time better." So we can motivate and empower them in this way. Just remember to focus on encouragement, guiding questions, and building set belief to respond with them. To summarize some practical advice, do encourage effort and persistence and celebrate small success with the mentees and also provide guidance rather than answers and then build a good mindset. However, don't criticize harshly, don't compare mentees to others, and don't take control of their work and don't ignore their emotions. In short, just focus on supporting, not controlling your mentees. As we wrap up, here are the key takeaways of this topic. Motivation sustains effort and resilience. Empowerment builds independence and self-belief. Mentors guide and inspire, not solve everything. And even small encouragements can make a big difference. So, moving forward, think about which of these strategies you can apply in your next peer assisted learning session. Thank you for watching this video and see you again. Bye bye.